Hey Internet, it's RJ. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning into the show today. Now, today's episode, I'm going to tell you my story of filing a CFPB complaint against GoToBank for $1,500 worth of referrals. Drag them out, street fight, and in the end, of course, I won. Did you ever think anything other was going to happen? But it didn't always seem like I was going to win, so we're going to break down the full story, the full process of how I filed it, the back and forth, how long it took, and what you can expect if you ever need to go through this process. So, of course, if that sounds interesting to you, then go ahead, press the subscribe button, and let's get to work. Now, a few things here, first of all. This is going to be more of a story type thing than anything else. I don't know how much fancy B-roll I'll have to put over this, but I'll walk you through my whole process filing this complaint. So if you're unfamiliar, CFPB stands for Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. We've done an overview video of it on the channel before, and I will link it down below. So as a result, I'm not going to spend too much time on what they are, but the Cliff Notes version, if you haven't seen that, is that they're, again, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They came around shortly after the 2008 financial crisis, maybe 2010, something like that. I think they were part of the Dodd-Frank initiative. And they're there to make sure that customers are treated fairly by banks, which means they do have their website does have a lot of good information, and I would say easily consumable information, which is something that I've always tried to do here, is to take information that bankers try to make sound so fancy and sophisticated and just talk to you like a regular human would talk to someone, and they do a good job of that. And then also, if you're not getting anywhere with the bank, you can file a complaint, and again, they don't necessarily step in and rule, but they kind of make sure the bank will address it. Doesn't mean you're gonna win, doesn't mean you're right, but it's supposed to get someone to take a look at it and take it seriously. So that's the overview of the CFPB. And so now our story begins actually on our second channel. So the second channel is called Run on the Bank, and it's all about bank account promotions, credit card offers, things like that. Just strictly about making money. We don't do stories like this, just about the money. So that's always linked down below for you if you're interested. But over there, again, I made a video about GoToBank. GoToBank, if you be forgiven if you haven't heard of them, because they're kind of like a neo-fintech bank. And if you don't know how those work, generally it's a company who says, hey, we can do user interface, user experience better, but we still want to partner with a bank. In this case, Green Dot. You see them a lot as the actual bank holding the money and doing the regulatory stuff. That'll come into play later. So their referral program was up to $1,500. I can make up to $1,500 referring 15 people, $100 a head. And so that's how that whole channel makes money. The Google ads that I make, like the ads that you have to watch, because those videos are so niche and they're very short and only doing 2 a week, they really don't make that much money, maybe $150, $200 a month in Google ads. So I make all of my money referring people. Again, it's not a secret if you watch the show. But anyways, we do the video, and I can usually, that show's popular enough, not to brag between the website, but I can max out a referral link pretty quickly. And I got 2 payouts of $100. The person signs up, they complete the requirements, and I got 2, so $200, and then nothing for months. And that's not necessarily uncommon because, as my third GoToBank account, there was some debate on whether I was an actual customer or not, because I didn't actually use the account or never activated the debit card, and apparently you're supposed to. So I was kind of like, oh man, I guess I'm going to take a loss on this one. But then all of a sudden, I got a bunch of emails, 14 emails from them, all in succession, saying, hey, we've deposited $100. They send you an email per deposit. We've deposited $100 to your GoToBank account. So I got 14 of these. And I was like, okay, cool. So I go to my GoToBank account. There's nothing there. So I call them up. I'm like, hey, I got these emails. There's nothing there. What's going on? They're like, okay, the money will be there. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. And so they open a ticket for me. Fine. That's not uncommon. Check back a week later. Nothing. I call them. Nothing. I call them again. Nothing. And so, I've been shorted by banks in the past. When you open up enough bank accounts, sometimes it doesn't go your way. But in the past, I've tended to charge it to the game and move on to the next one, right? Because you're usually talking $100, $200, something like that. But this is $1,500, or technically they owe me $1,300, which is funny because by their own count, they owe me $1,400 because they sent me 14 emails, even though it had already been paid twice. So I don't know how they do math, but It's a lot of money considering, how we just covered the math for the channel. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of going back and forth with these guys, right? I have better things to do. They don't tell me anything. And so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to open up a CFPB complaint. So again, we covered what the CFPB is, but now I want to get into how you should think about formatting your complaint. So I'll put the template that they give you on screen. On the surface, you just complete the fields that they have. It's not necessarily that hard. You will have to make an account, but you really want to be specific and come from a place of knowing what you're talking about, right? So again, I'll walk you through my thought process here. Is the standpoint that you want to be, they do help you. They say, tell them what happened, dates, times. They give you place attached documentation, tell them the resolution you're looking for. So, you can tell them, hey, look, I was, because of this, here's the referral program, and I attached a referral program page. So they know exactly what I'm looking for. On this date, I received, 14 emails from GO2bank's system of record. Now I'm trying to throw in words that make them take me more seriously. All companies have a system of record, which is where, the source of truth, if you will. So for their system to send me emails means that something in their system recognize that I was owed this money, right? So I'm trying to pad in things like that. Like I received 14 emails. That should equate to $1,400. I have not been paid that money yet. I opened up a ticket on this date. Here's the ticket number. I've called these 2 times. No resolution. So I'm specifically looking to understand when this $1,400 will be dispersed to my account. So very quick and to the point. You're adding dates. I didn't attach 14 different emails, but I did attach one of the emails as well, just extra documentation. Then you go ahead and you submit it. And this is where things got interesting. This is my first time actually doing a CFPB complaint. So I'm going to pull up the email. I'll put it on screen for you. I got this email from the Federal Reserve Consumer Help. So if you don't know, across the country, there are Federal Reserve banks, and they kind of help govern banks regionally, right? So what they say is this email is to acknowledge our receipt of your correspondence that was forwarded by the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on August 5th. Yes, it took me a while to get to making this video. We have forwarded your correspondence to the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. You should receive a response from the Reserve Bank handling your complaint from the next bank within 60 days. More complaints may take longer. Then it just kind of goes on to say that. So, we'll pause there. We'll come back, in a second. But it is interesting because that means the CFPB actually closed my complaint. I didn't know about it. I just kind of went in there and looked. They didn't tell me they closed it, but I guess that's what forwarding it means. And the CFPB was basically like, they're better equipped to handle it. They'll take care of it, right? So I thought that was interesting. Fine. But then you get another email from complaint support at Green Dot Bank, and Green Dot, again, is the one who's behind GO2bank. Green Dot says, hey, we received your complaint. Give us a call at this number. They put an extension in there as well, which I did find interesting because it takes you to like generic customer service, believe it or not. Who would have guessed? So that's that. So I called the phone number, and I thought it was going to go to a person, but it didn't. It went to regular customer support at Green Dot Bank. And for whatever reason, they gave me a reference number, so I give them the reference number. Like, okay, we open another ticket for you, and then that's the end of that. They open the ticket, then you don't hear back at all. I think I called back again. They said there was no update. That was like a week later. And I was kind of like, what is really going on here? Because, I don't know, I guess I would have thought that it was going to get elevated higher than to just regular customer support. However, one day, getting to sort of the end of the story here, I get another email. I get a phone call. I don't think I answered it. But immediately after I get a phone call, put this letter on screen as well. So again, we are in receipt of your complaint. After reviewing your complaint, a representative from our corporate office investigated the concerns. We attempted to contact you. They sent this probably like 10 minutes after the call. Though the number provided in your complaint, we were unsuccessful in reaching you. We left a voicemail. They didn't really say anything about calling back. So then they do tell you that they did issue a credit in the amount of $1,300. Plus an additional credit of $20, a customer courtesy credit, and there you go. And sure enough, that was in the account, which was nice to see. So again, you got all the money in the end. It did take a while. All in, you're probably looking at like 2-month trip, give or take, which is kind of crazy. for that, but it got done, and it was worth it. So we, to put a summary on this, like what did we learn in our experience filing a complaint? Well, number one, as we said in the beginning, when you're filing a complaint, you always want to document things as much as possible. When you're doing these offers, when you're doing promotional offers, you're referring people, it is always best to take down the promotional page, PDF that as well. Save your emails. Again, these emails I just kind of threw a flag next to, so I'd have them as we kept going. In addition to that, when you're filing a complaint, it's also important to think about how might the bank beat you. And by that I mean, I've been doing referral programs for quite a while now, and one thing when they go wrong, they always ask is, well, who referred you? Give me the name and the email address of the person who referred you. And it's not unreasonable because they want to verify that, it actually happened. But in my case, when I make a blog post or I make a video, I have no idea who's using the referral link, right? So it wouldn't be possible for me to know who I referred, but it's a real possibility that they ask that. So it just, in my scenario, to get around that or kind of circumvent that, if we go back to how I wrote out the complaint, it was like, hey, per Green Dot Bank's system of record, I received these emails. And so I'm wording it that way to get ready for the potential attack or the potential jab that I need to provide names and emails, because your system of record as a bank is already telling me it's acknowledged that I should have been paid this money. So names and emails shouldn't come into play. Now, it didn't come into play, which is good, but the point I'm trying to make is you just want to think about any pitfalls, any maneuvers that the bank might try. System of record is a big one, especially on promotional offers. That's why if you're using someone else's referral link, you should always just remember. Like, you'll find links on the Dr. Credit comments. You might use them for me. Just remember who you got them from so you can reach back out to me. Because people have reached back out to me, and I'm always happy to provide my email address and my name. I'm not going to, it's a throwaway email address. I'm probably not going to make it public, but if you ask me through email, I will get it to you for that specific reason. Other thing here, I think when you're writing complaints, again, it's important to speak from a position of, I'm not going to say power, but how people say, I think, when they know the answer, right? You want to write your email very concisely and to the point. You don't need to write a paragraph, but you should be concise and to the point, like you would write a work email per se. Because within a degree of, maybe not know the full thing, but when we get wishy-washy and we don't give ourselves solid ground to stand on, I think that also plays a part into how people perceive us and how seriously they take the complaint. And then I would say, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and follow up. It's been a week, I haven't heard anything. You call back and they say, well, I don't have anything. Well, that's not going to work for me. I need an answer. Now, you can push, and it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get anywhere. Other things I like, I try to avoid talking, saying, you did this, you did that, because you're just talking to another human who works at this bank, right? So I'd like to talk to them in the standpoint of, Go To Bank did this, right? Not you did this. There's no reason to make it personal overall. Overall, I think that's kind of what we learned. They do take a while. The CFPB closing the complaint was a little bit of a curveball, but again, they did forward it to the right people, and we did get a win. But I believe we got a win because of how we wrote that up, because of the documentation that we saved, and some of the references that we used. That, again, they're by no means taking my word for it. Of course they're not, but and sometimes you don't know who's investigating, so giving them a direction where to look, sometimes making their job even easier, does help. So any information you can have and any documentation you have, the better. So overall, we kind of went long on that, but that is my experience filing a CFPB complaint. Now, I will say, last thing here again, don't be afraid to use it. You have it at your disposal. I think technically they're funded by the Federal Reserve, but I always say, well, I pay tax dollars. I should be able to use it. Now, of course, I do believe you always want to try to reach out to the bank first, because you can say, I've been doing this for a long time. That's really the first time I've had to go to the CFPB level to get my money. And again, if it was $100, I'd probably just let it go. I've let it go in the past. For less, but you're talking about, again, they ended up being $1,300. Like, I let $1,300 go. It's a lot. To me, it's a lot of money. It might not be to you, but to me in this game, considering what I do and the focus of this channel, it's a lot of money, especially when you can only do it once a year. So I deemed it worth it. But you always want to reach out to them first, try to work on it. Again, we did having the ticket, again, document your ticket and everything like that, of course. But yeah, once you've done that, you shouldn't have to beat your head against the wall. You shouldn't have to pick up the phone multiple times. If it's getting to the point where it's my third phone call, like, I'm not wasting my time on this. I'm going straight to the CFPB. So overall, that is the process. That's how mine went out. Happy story in the end, but they did make me work for it. But, what did Jack Sparrow say? Take what you can, give nothing back. That is going to be one of our new mottos here. So anyways, guys, I hope this story was at least interesting or at least helps you prepare for your CFPB complaint in the event you have to. I hope you don't have to use this, but you play the game long enough, sometimes you will. Of course, let me know your stories down below. Have you filed complaints successfully? How did they go? I'd love to get your thoughts and your success rate. Any other tips you have for folks out there as well. Of course, if you like this one, drop me a thumbs up down below. If you found it particularly interesting, consider subscribing to the channel, as we're posting content just like this, but usually are much shorter and with happier endings, or happier stories, I guess I should say, every single week. Of course, right back here every Sunday with all the news you can use in the week that wasn't credit and finance. And of course, every single day over on profitablecontent.com, where we have the latest news stories. We have bank promotions if I haven't scared you off. There's even a go-to bank promotion if you want to try it. And of course, we have credit card offers as well. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you very soon in the next one.